Vreau să salut prezența alături de noi a excelenței sale, domnul ambasador al Israelului, Reuven AZAR. Welcome back at Financial Intelligence. If you just arrived, but I will continue the discussion with you. There has been mentioned here the necessity for cooperation, international cooperation, cooperation between among institutions. Tell us for the beginning your thoughts regarding cybersecurity, your example, your country's example, and then we'll go forward.
Okay, so thank you very much, first of all, for the invitation, and yeah, I'm proud to be here. I want to talk a little bit about cybersecurity in the context of the last few events. The first, of course, is the financial crisis, the world financial crisis. If I can say something about cybersecurity in that context, is that cybersecurity is actually the only field in which we have growth in investment, or at least less decrease in investments as a result of financial crisis. And this is, I'm seeing this in the data in Israel regarding the high-tech sector, and I'm sure that this is the case in other countries as well. And the reason is very obvious. Probably you have been discussing it so far. It's because the threats in the cyber domain are increasing exponentially as a result of AI. And the numbers, I'm not a cyber expert, so I don't have the numbers here to share with you. But we are talking about, at least in Israel, about dozens of thousands of attacks. And this is something that we have to deal with, everybody has to deal with, and therefore this domain will continue to develop, and high-tech companies in Israel are having a lot of work nowadays. The second thing that I can say in the current context is, of course, the 7th of October attack on Israel and the war that started since then. Here, cyber stands in very huge contrast with the failures that we have. We have had a terrible failure when it comes to intelligence and also operationally, and that caused huge damage in terms of civilian life. But fortunately, when it comes to, there are three domains in which we have incredible success that are not published. One is cybersecurity. We've been attacked massively following the 7th of October in the cybersecurity domain. Fortunately, none of our essential or even non-essential services have been hit as a result of that, because we have built a pretty robust cyber capability, not only in the context of the state, but also in the context of the private sector. The other two domains, I won't discuss them here. There are missile defense and also active defense systems for armored vehicles, but this is not the subject of our discussion. So what is important to take into consideration in that context? The preparation of the economy in the cyber domain is essential. We know that with Romania we have amazing cooperation, and we've been following with curiosity the building of the cyber authority in Romania. We've been cooperating and meeting for years now, and I think that the cyber defense model in Romania is to a certain extent built on the Israeli model. It is very important to continue that path, because the challenge in cyber is to engage the private sector. It's not enough to defend the state systems. When it comes, at the end of the day, sometimes you know, other private sector-owned activities can be severely damaged. In Israel, for example, there was one example of a hospital, actually a public hospital, that was subject to ransomware. The damage was so bad that the country didn't agree to pay ransomware. It was about $5 million, but to rebuild the system of the hospital, we actually had to invest more than that. So this gives you an example of the importance of actually covering all the parts of the economy, and you can do that not by legislation, but actually by encouraging people, by giving them services. So in our system, in our CERT in Israel, we are organized in a way in which different parts of the economy have different part of the CERT, and they are speaking with each other all the time. So they are the financial people that are sitting on one room, there are the infrastructure people sitting on another room, et cetera, et cetera. And in this way, private sector companies can exchange information about attacks, and the cyber authority can assess the situation and also help companies and advise them what is the right level of defense that they need, because this is always kind of a cat and mouse situation. As much as you invest in solutions, the attackers will find a way to circumvent them, so you have to continue investing all the time.
So the education of the public goes through the business environment, so to say. So you cooperate with the business environment for this education.
Right. It's not only the business, of course, not only the business environment. I think you can create awareness also by doing public campaigns. But at the end of the day, the resilience of the economy is going to be determined, as I said, by trying to get to the weakest link, and therefore private sector cooperation and cooperation with the government is very important, and the government has to invest in that.
I have a question from the participants. I hope I can translate it accurately. So how do you see the international cooperation in research to address measures to combat the deepfake and misuse of deepfake?
Well, that's a huge question. What we are seeing in this context, that for the first time in modern time, actually the private sector is coming to the government and is asking the government to intervene. You know, usually in the free world, in the free economies, our tendency is to think that the governments should move aside, should deregulate and not intervene, because their intervention actually undermines the development of the economy. Here, the situation is exactly the opposite, because the AI tools are so powerful that the leading high-tech companies in the world actually have asked the governments to take part. Now, what I can tell from my experience is the situation is not good, okay? In Israel, we have convened a group of experts by the government, together with, that combine high-tech people, legal people, and they have produced a report of, I don't know, more than 100 pages. And the only thing that I saw in that report is basically trying to, first of all, identify the norms. What are the norms that we want to follow? When it comes to how to regulate, I think that we are not there yet. We are in contact with, stakeholders in the European Union, in the United States, in Britain, and we're trying to figure out those, because the problem with rule-based, let's say, system is that some people follow the rules and some people don't follow the rules, and the question is, how do you deal with that? I don't think that we have a good answer at this point. And when it comes to research, I think that there are some conclusions of research that we can share. But at this point, it's very premature to determine how AI is going to be regulated.
You mentioned the cooperation between Israel and Romania, also in cyber security. Can you tell us the amount of investments of the Israeli entities here in Romania?
Well, Romania is a very interesting case, because you have a pretty robust cyber sector, which is one of the 2 or 3 leading fields in the high-tech in Romania. So you have fintech, you have cyber, you have IT. Israeli companies have been actually focusing in Ukraine before the war, because there was a huge pool of engineers that were very handy to be subcontracted by Israeli companies. Here in Romania, the engineers are more expensive, but they are very good. And there are some investments of Israeli companies that employ a few hundreds of Romanian engineers, mainly in the field of cyber, gaming. And this is a developing field. What I've been trying to do personally, after mapping the capabilities here is to try to increase cooperation by promoting scale-up programs. Because to my humble opinion, some of the challenges for Romanian cybersecurity companies is how to reach to the global markets. This was a challenge that we faced a few years back. We developed several tools in order to deal with that, and the result of that, in Israel today, there are many cyber companies have become unicorns. So I think we can work together to create more unicorns, both in Israel and Romania, by cooperating and by doing scale-up programs. This is something that we are offering to the Romanian market.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador, for taking the time of being here today and sharing your experience.